Well, Mark, unfortunately, a 2-1 defeat against Scarborough Athletic, but to play 70 minutes with 10 men, quite a lot to take from. What's your assessment?
In all honesty, disappointment from start to finish. I felt within 3-4 minutes that this is the Curzon performance at home that I hate, that I've seen for years, that we go about a run of games and we show what we're capable of, and then it comes to one where we just can't find what we need to do the right things and to play with energy and to be effective. Very frustrating, because no player does it intentionally, but when the group turns up and they all can't find that in themselves today, it's a disappointment. And what happens from that is you put yourself under unnecessary pressure, you allow opposition more ball than they warranted, and eventually mistakes are made. It's a bit of a comedy of errors, really. They send, to get the lad to lose a player, and it's very frustrating, because I have seen it over a period of time. And what happens, we get a group who they build you up, and then we have a performance like that, which for me is unacceptable. I won't try and paper over the cracks and say that was unlucky, or in the end, we maybe could have nicked something. We didn't deserve anything today. Scarborough, I looked at their side, I felt they were down to bare bones. They didn't really have much on the bench, young lads, and I felt if we're at it today, we could put in a real statement to say that we're looking up rather than down. But it's that performance that just disappoints and frustrates, and I'd love to be able to put my finger on it. The previous managers before me, we got us all in a room, and I think they'd all agree that just every now and again we get a performance that's flat, and such a good group, such a hard working group, but I think there was a few today who just turned up and they didn't have it in them.
Obviously, looking into Scarborough Athletic, we talk about their form, with them being on a losing run of 4 games. What was your thinking going into this particular game, and also the preparations? Did you feel like with Scarborough, with the way that they played, they were more obviously the possessive type of game, they would like to try and pressurise whenever you can? What was your game plan going into that?
The game plan was quite simple, because they play a similar pattern to who we played on Tuesday night. So a team who are above us in the league, but the games I've watched, obviously I have noticed that they've got players missing, and that I expected some of them players to be back today, in all honesty, because they didn't have a game last week and they haven't had a midweek game. And when I saw the team sheet, and really they had defenders as wide players, and I thought they are struggling a bit injury wise, and I think you don't transmit that to the players, but our players tactically have outlined what's worked for us in recent games, and you've just got to bang on about doing the same things, having the same energy, showing the same threat, but the threat wasn't there right from the first minute. The front three looked off it, and if Jimmy doesn't get hold of the ball, and Alex and Tony are not causing them problems, and we're giving it constantly, allowing them to win battles and then win second balls, they grow in confidence, and we didn't have that leadership of somebody dragging us through it. It's very frustrating, and I've just outlined that to them, that's unacceptable. We don't want, especially at home, to just not do enough when we've shown what we're capable of. I've been very complimentary of the subs when I've put them on. Today we needed them, and today they didn't do enough. You know, their goals was mistakes that we shouldn't make.
And then obviously you're touching on the substitutions as well. First with the sending off as well of Adam Barton, you mentioned about the mistakes. Maybe that red card was shown to Adam Barton. What was your initial thoughts to try and adapt? What was your message going into after the sending off?
Well, I mean, the first thoughts are how long's to half time, to be able to you know, to put a bit more structure into what's going to happen. You know, we just went into a flat back four with four in front and one up front, and you know, we did well to get through to half time. They had a free kick in a dangerous place, but just, you know, it's not the sloppy errors for the sending off, but it's the sloppy errors throughout the game really, and sometimes you don't see them, but they were there too often, and you know, we paid the price for them, unfortunately. When their leg got sent off late on, you know, we tried to have a go and we got a goal back. You know, I think we hit the post early in the second half as well, but we never did enough. We never did what we've been doing over the past few weeks. There was a few warning signs against Spennymoor. You know, we managed to get a point out of that game, but there was a lot of warning signs today that you know, lads were just not mentally correct to win a football match, and that's disappointing.
Touching on obviously the substitution of Jimmy Spencer, who looked to hold on his hamstrings. Anything in particular?
Yeah, it's just, again, I think it's fatigue. I think he's you know, the worry of him missing the first 5 games of the season and then us throwing him in and him constantly playing is that his body will, you know, cause him issues. It's you know, he has a very difficult job as well, a job where he's physically grafting every day, and you know, I think he knows, so it was very precautionary that he just felt a aching, you know, a stiffness in his hamstring, and you know, we weren't going to risk him, so we brought him off straight away. In all honesty, and I've told him in Jimmy and Tony and Alex, even before the sending off, they weren't doing enough, and I've got to give people the opportunity. If you don't do it, I'm going to give somebody else the opportunity. You know, so Brad, Joe and Crispin were told they were coming on before the sending off. They would be coming on at half time. I've got to be honest about that. And again, once it went down to 10 men, it became difficult for them 3. But if they want to get into this team, they've got to take them opportunities and show that they're going to show a desire that's bigger than the players who started today.
And then touching on now the next game, Ilkeston Town in the Isuzu FA Trophy. Sparks a good opportunity, like you said, to not only bounce back but also to bring back the tenacity, bring back the tempo, getting everything going. What other aims are you looking for throughout this week, heading into preparation to that one?
Well, it's the first week that we haven't had a Tuesday game for a while, so it allows a few to recover that little bit longer. You know, we've just got to get the things right. There's the bench and quite a few lads coming back from injury. Chris Stokes was on the bench today. Jack Stafford playing for the reserves, so he's close to being back. So there's a training match organised for the lads who haven't had as many minutes, and then the lads who've had maybe too many minutes will get protected on Tuesday, so that everybody's right for Thursday, and then we can look at Ilkeston and what they do and how they do it. But more importantly, it's about getting ourselves right. And if it's shown today, if you're not right, then You know, it doesn't matter who you play, you're going to cause yourselves problems and help the opposition. And we don't want to be doing that. We want to understand consistency and how much it takes to be consistent week in, week out.